Forging your own path in sport takes determination, especially when the culture around you points in a different direction. And our guest today knows exactly what it means to back yourself and pursue a dream in a place where your chosen sport wasn't the local game of choice. Welcome to the Almost Pro Sport podcast, where we share the journeys of athletes whose stories aren't in the title, they're in the journey. I'm Laura, joined by my co-host Francis, and for today's guest, their journey began on the central coast of New South Wales in Australia, where rugby league and soccer ruled the landscape. But at just 10 years old, Jay Lewis picked up an Australian rules football, or AFL, ball and never looked back. By 15, he was on scholarship with the Sydney Swans, training alongside icons like Adam Goodes and Barry Hall, and playing senior level football before most kids even had their driver's license. Across 265 senior games, Jay became a premiership winner in both New South Wales and Queensland, co-captained his hometown club, and earned a reputation as a leader and competitor. Today, he's the director of Elite Foot Care on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, where he applies the resilience and discipline of his Australian rules football career into business and helping others keep moving. Jay, welcome to Almost Pro.
Thanks, Laura. Epic intro. It's good to hear a bit of that come back because it's been a long time, and that reflection part of life, sometimes it gets missed. So it's good to be aboard and have some chats about my journey and where it's gone and, you know, what the landscape looks like now where I grew up 16 years later. So thanks for having me on Almost Pro. I hear it's an amazing place. I've heard a couple of stories. I've been doing my own little research in the background and some great guests. So I'm privileged to be on the agenda and on that same list as some of the guys you've got on. So appreciate it.
Stoked to have you here, Joe. Stoked to have you here. And love that you mention that it's been a while since you hear it, because what we recognise in some of our guests is sometimes it takes time out of the sport. It takes a little while after leaving before you can reflect on the journey. Is that true for you?
Oh, I think so. And it's like entrenched in how your next stage of life goes. And you go, where do I pick up this particular habit or this? And why am I doing this process? And you look back and go, this is why. I think as a young bloke, you never reflect. You know, what's the next best thing? I need to play good before the next game so they still like me. And there's never that time to sit and look back.
Yeah.
You know?
You're in it the whole time looking at, what's next?
Yeah.
It's so true. You'd also be reaching a point in your age where you're probably beginning to reflect behaviours of guys who were that age but coaching you because you were so young, Jay.
Oh, yeah. Exactly right. And now, you know, I find myself getting asked questions I was asking. And as a young fella, they go, you need experience. And you go, get lost. I don't need experience. And then I'm back on, geez, I had no idea at all. So just an expression. Sometimes you get stuck in the jar and you can't read the label. But once you get out of that jar, you can really see what's going on. And you can
Gosh, that's true.
Yeah.
That is so true.
Life and business. And that's why you do need those third parties or those people to come and, you know, look at you so you can go, oh, look, I had no idea. And that's super, whether it's through your footy or your business or even your family. They're doing that for you. You got your support crew at work and then you got your team and your sport. And I think that culture of feedback is something that is constant in sport, like constant. And I think now in my life, that's still a really important thing for all of us to keep going forward.
Yeah, I love that, Jay. I think it's true for all of us, right? In any season, as you said, whether it's work, sport, family, whatever, but sport certainly sets you up for the taking of feedback. So you're receiving it all of the time, whether you want to or not, in most cases, you're receiving feedback. But you're right, it does slow down in different chapters of life. And I think as a sports person, you find you're looking for it. Like, am I still doing this okay?
Yeah, you're almost, it's sometimes you always want that clarification that I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And you don't have that once you step outside that community and that environment.
Yeah.
Every day, you're in a really elite sporting thing. Everything's looked at. You judge on every little thing. And then you move away from that and you're like, what am I doing? I'm going to get in trouble here. But you're not. You just got a weird energy around you that you need people checking in. So that's a big barrier for me anyway, and I'm not sure for other sports stars when they moved out of that environment, if it had a really big effect, or you're just looking for that certainty from, whether it's your family or your friends. So
Yeah. I think what it raises for me is I wonder when that crept in. So, I wonder if we're like that from a young age because we get confirmation of doing the right thing and the wrong thing as a
all the time.
child.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what little Jay was like? What were you like as a kid before AFL, before any of it came into your life?
I was a pretty intense little boy.
Yeah.
And I got into sport really early, like probably most young guys, young toddlers, into our programs locally, and I was there pretty full on, and I keep getting told that really recently when we're having catch ups. But I wasn't. I think throughout I had to work really hard, whether it's school or things, to apply myself, and I think that's like most little boys.
Yeah.
And I think like when we introduced ourselves to sport, and that was soccer early on around 6.
Yep.
You had your outlet to go and tackle other kids instead of people at home.
Yeah. 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 And so round ball football was first. When did you pick up a footy?
It was. I picked up a footy after 9, so about 10 years old, and
Yeah.
I got to that point where I was kind of pretty skinny, lanky, but I had that athletic type rig on me, and I remember playing a soccer trial, and I was just hurting kids, like not meaning to, but like going in too rough, almost like hip and shouldering. And it was just full on, and I was getting a lot in trouble, and I really couldn't control myself in that regard. I was a bit hectic. So I saw this advertisement on AFL in New South Wales, and, as you said, Laura, growing up where I did, it was soccer or rugby league, or there was rugby union for the richer kids,
Mm.
and yeah, we end up finding the local AFL team, and you could start to use your hands a lot more. You could grab them, you could knock into them off the ball and not get a red card.
Yeah.
So it was this natural progression, and just fell into it, and I was and they used to call me the hammer between like 11 and 14, and I think I mentioned this beforehand. I had this blonde streaky mohawk thing going on, and it was bone and muscle only, and like tendons really. And it was just, I could tackle, and I had freedom to grab the footy, sprint around, knock guys off the ball without getting in trouble. And it just felt like it was meant to be.
Yeah.
At the time, there wasn't a lot of clubs. And when we rocked up to have a kick, picking up a footy the first time, I'd never even seen the footy oval because it was in the back of the streets. You didn't know it existed. But because of that, that community became a huge part of our life, and people had no idea what it was. We were in Australia,
Yeah.
biggest sport in the land, and still in this area, they didn't understand or had any recollection of what it was, and since then, huge changes, which is amazing.
What year are we talking, Jay? Around, or even era?
03, so
Okay.
2000, yeah.
Not long enough ago, is it?
No,
To just have no representation.
that's right. And like the local team was Sydney Swans, obviously. They had no success. I think I
Yeah.
wasn't around in Brizzy at that time, but Brizzy Lions 2000, 01, 02, 03 go back to back to back.
Yeah.
So that may have, accelerated some of the growth in Brisbane. But for Sydney, they were getting 10,000, like you see in the NRL now, some games. There's no presence anywhere. No one really knew it. I was just getting paid out the whole time at school, and even that now, you don't hear that kind of stuff anymore.
No.
Or an odd one out the other way sometimes now. And those people that used to give it to me are now playing AFL. And I think it's a credit to all the pathways that we see, the AFL and how they develop the country. And now we've got the GWS Giants in, Western Sydney, and we've got Gold Coast. So the expansion's been pretty amazing.
Yeah, so true. Did anyone in your family play, or were you the first and you kind of had to convince them to come along for the ride?
Dad went to Geelong Grammar for a time, and years ago, and then he dropped out, was a muso, so he kind of lost his footy, but he did play a few games of footy and played a bit of Victorian soccer. So Dad was like, "I'm in. I love this sport. Let's, I want to pursue this with you. I think you'd be great for it." And yeah, and then he was our coach for for the whole journey of my career, but for my brother and myself, he did help coach our teams through that junior period.
Right.
So it was really became entrenched in our family, and our mum was on the ride for the journey, and it became all encompassing in my life. Carried a footy everywhere, bit of a weirdo, trying to get the boys to kick at lunchtime. It's like, so it was a
Interesting.
big family endeavour. But then you found these other small pockets of families. Oh, we grew up in SA or WA or Victoria, and we all found each other. So I then got that culture from where they came from, and their fathers and their families were in it back in Victoria and things. And you'd see those ones, no local boys, and there was definitely no girls. So it was really rare. It was a rare one. I think I just stumbled upon it.
I love it. I love that it became the family's way of life.
Yeah.
I think junior sport does that, but sounds like your brother started playing too.
He did. He was 3 years junior to me, and he just followed obviously his brother around and picked up a footy. So it was around 12, under 12s. We won the granny undefeated.
Yeah.
I was getting a kick, and I said to Dad, I think I want to have a crack. And he goes, if you're gonna have a crack, it's not gonna be easy. And I said, no, I get it. He goes, no, we're gonna go for it. Like I'll support you. It's not gonna be. We'll do it. And we asked the landlord at the time. We had this little property, little cottage. Can we build a footy oval, like a big rectangle oval to kick the footy? It was on this big slanted farm, and we got an excavator, built a bit of land there, cultivated it, seeded it, and man, we had this couple of pot plants we used to kick around the corner for goals, and we had our own footy oval at our house, So we had a tiny cottage, this little bit of patch that we kicked the footy on. So that's when it began in 13, and then there was a bit more of a pathway there through our rep sides and things. And then by 14, we were in-state footy, flying around the country, playing other teams. It accelerated after 12 quite quickly. Training 5 days a week, so whether it's in the weights room. Dad set it all up there, running laps around our farm. We had this up, down, across, and up. You'd have to do about 12 laps a day. And so just running and push-upping and just getting your body right, and then kicking the football. Because I was probably years behind some of these guys that are getting drafted, picking up a football at 4.
Yeah, right.
You don't hear it often that people picked up at 12, 10 and 12 and made something of it. So we had to go all out and have that footy and touch in your hand constantly, and surround yourself with the same people that were keen as well. So a lot of catching up to do. Yeah.
So interesting. So you were able to reach a point though where you could represent New South Wales?
Yeah, so they brought in this talent pathway when I was 14, and it introduced New South Wales kids, good kids, that bring us together for a bit of a training squad, and we flew down to play other local Victorian teams. So that was my first kind of rocking up with a uniform at the airport with these guys in interstate, and played against these teams as well on this journey with those boys for 5 years after that, while we're all trying to get drafted and things like that. So a really cool introduction. I think we got towed up. I don't think we got near it as a group. And
You got flogged every game.
that's right. And you see now, they've got their allies, which is the best from New South Wales, NT, ACT, and Queensland. But then if we went over and played SA and you'd see huge difference in that quality. So
yeah, right. Really?
Rare that our team, so we had our own conference, and then the 2 Vico teams, WA and SA, had theirs, and there wasn't not much crossover. But now we're seeing that crossover because they're getting the best of those 4 states, and then they're going and playing the other boys, and they're getting more people drafted, and we're seeing a lot more talent come through in that kind of pathway.
And now time for a short break. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to join the Almost Pro community and stay up to date with the latest episodes and news. To find out more or to apply to be a guest, visit almostpropodcast.com today.
So it was a different kind of journey through ACT state footy. We were called the Rams at the time, and we hardly won, and the quality was crazy, and no one would get drafted. There would be no one. You might get one who might go on the rookie list who dominated in local footy or at the local New South Wales kind of scene, but then you kind of lose him. And I think some guys who kind of went through and got through this would be Kieran Jack, who captained New South Wales, and his dad obviously played professional rugby league, and you had Brandon who came up with me, and there were some of the guys that went through the field and got through, and Lenny Hayes was another big one from Penner Hills, Lewis Roberts Thompson, these kind of names that were local, but it wasn't many compared to obviously updates and things. So what they introduced was a bit of a program because it was not working. They wanted to grow the game in New South Wales. And they said, we're gonna look at this scholarship scheme to get some pre-draftees going. And each club had one pick. And obviously you could pick any age group under 18.
Okay.
And we had our state carnivals and things like that. And they had an internal one where it was like Northern New South Wales would play Sydney teams and this kind of thing. And would go to these things, would be training flat out, and you'd stay a week with your, like, you know, with all your friends at a Sydney college.
Yeah.
There'll be some TV people there. There'll be recruiters from every club, and it just all of a sudden lifted up, I guess, the whole state and lifted the professionalism up. And you'd see kids really now going all in on this AFL sport that no one really had before. So these carnivals became a really big part of our kind of upbringing in our life. And around these carnivals, there was 3 or 4 each team that were really, really could play footy. We hardly won, but there was me and 2 other blokes. One was Daniel Lloyd, who ended up playing 100 games for GWS, but only got picked up at 23. So he was one of those guys. And then another one was James Webster, who's my best man, who now lives locally with me, who went to Essendon. And I got the pick of the group, and I got the pick. Stuart Maxwell took me aside, ex-captain of Sydney, and said, "Jay, we want you to come to the club, and I want to have a chat to you, and we want to give you a scholarship." And I had no idea who this bloke was because I didn't really know much about those guys.
So it's fair to say that you've made up the ground from when you were training on your oval on the farm. We've definitely made up the time, made up the ground.
We're there. And I couldn't walk. I had corkies all through my legs. I think we played 2 games that day. I said, "Mate, can I just sit down?" Everyone's like, "You can't say that to me." Sure, mate. I said, "Who's I don't know who that is."
My legend.
I can't even walk. And it turns out then I get the history, and he was like big captain at the Swans for many years. And yeah, we get invited, me and Dad, you know, from like little farm into the Sydney Swans headquarters. And there's Paul Roos, who's coaching. There's Adam Goods in the lift with us, and my sister's there, my brother, and we're all just completely beside ourselves. And that Thursday, the team, the captain's run is just the players on the weekend. So the 50 list, the other guys are not there. And they go, "Jay, go have the captain's run." The stadium's empty at the SCG in Sydney, and I've run out, got my dad and mum, and can't even, hardly see them because they're so far away. There's no one in the stand. And then, I'm running around with the 24 for the weekend. So
Wow.
quite a full-on experience during that time. I'm in year 9. No one even knows what the sport is back at school, and just full on.
I'm glad that Dad was able to go with you, given the amount of work he put in for your trainings.
He's like, "We're in it here. Yeah, we've done it. We're doing it." And he's probably having more tears than me at this time, just going, "How good's this?" Because during that period, a lot of games were in Wagga, 6-8 hours away when you're trying to come up the ranks. So we're in the car together, staying at cheap motels, and in it as well. And so it was just as much as an amazing achievement for him as me running around. So very special time, and I did have my head a bit higher throughout that period around 15, 16, and I got asked to play Swans reserves at 16. So there I was, with men running around trying to get a kick, and it was just a full on.
Such a young age.
One of the youngest there at the time to debut with that Resi's team, and just
There'd have
running.
to be such a big difference in your build as well at that point, being 16 with people in their 20s,
I was probably just at 14, maybe 5'11", a little bit, almost 6 foot at that time. I haven't grown since, but I was really lean, so I was just sprinting around, not trying to get touched or get tackled and these things. You'd still be able to get a bit of a touch without getting hurt, and they just threw me in there, and that development, it goes quickly because you're just with these the guys you're meant to be playing with, at 18, 20, 25 and things. So pretty full on. And, I got just try to hold my own, but a lot of pressure too. And that was most weeks going into that. And, trying to get, you want at least 10, 15 kicks or something to feel good. And it was really difficult to get to that, level at that age. So you always had that pressure constantly on you.
Did you get much of a chance to just enjoy the ride as well?
Reflecting back, probably not as much as I would have liked to, because you just got that constant sense of people looking at you and judging you through
Yeah.
the period.
Yeah.
And there wasn't like an academy, which we see now, which has developed into, groups of the same age groups going through together, and playing each other. It was just myself and two other older boys who were there. So it was just, we were in the normal group, and it was quite full on and quite intense. And, you're down in the sheds getting ready and sharing with these men, and then you're going and playing against other men that are flying in from other football clubs to play you.
Yeah.
It's their full-time role as well. I'm still at school. I mean, I think year 10 by this stage, trying to learn geography. So a different experience, I think, than a lot of, junior people coming through.
Yeah, I mean, given that AFL wasn't, like, very big where you grew up, when you did have a chance to play in this as part of this team, were you a bit starstruck, or were they all new faces to you?
Now, a lot of them were new faces, but, our mainstay guys like Goodsy and we mentioned Barry Hall and Ryan O'Keefe and these mainstays, it was pretty full on because it wasn't like a meet and greet. I want you to sign my jersey. You just had to go, yeah.
Play it cool, Jay. Play it cool.
Give it to me. Like, pass it over. And then they don't pass it over and you're like, oh, they don't like me. So I went through this whole thing of
Yes.
pretty intense trying to get into, like, break into the group as a young fella that lives an hour and a half away. That
Yeah.
with that. And it does affect you, I think, mentally, but also in your game because you try and, being 16, you got no communication skills or any of the.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
You're just trying to be the freak they think you are, but you got to still get the footy and all this kind of thing. So, yeah, a huge, crazy period.
And being called the Hammer probably didn't make its way into the Swans at that point, did it? No one played along for Hammer time.
Yeah. And so, it was a relief when I went back to my local crew and I could go, I can get back into it. So, but there wasn't much going back to the local footy team anymore. This was my new reality. So being a big fish, it didn't exist here. I was, as when you move into those environments, you're at the bottom of the barrel and you've got to earn the respect again. And you have to work really hard and you have to earn everything you get there. You have to turn up. And I do remember the train was late and it was out of my control, I guess. But they said, that's not out of your control. And I remember getting a serving at like 16.5. I'm trying to get from Gosford to Sydney, missed the train. And it was like, well, it was quite in your face. And I'm like, oh, this is what it's about. Like, you've got to be there for one another. And I think during that period at the Swans, they had one of the most successful periods, if not the most successful.
Yeah.
Went back to back. I was there when they were in the 05 grand final with all the heroes. And you could just see, I was firsthand in the group and, beating West Coast by, I think it was 4 points that first year or a point. And, you go, wow, like this is really full on and serious, and I'm right there amongst it all. And so from there, you go back to your state footy and start playing more state footy in the carnivals and things like that, and everyone was after you. Now that you've got this scene, they want to get you and they want to kill you, and it was just survival at that stage through that time.
Sorry to qualify. Everyone was after you as in on the pitch, they're after you, not as in they're hunting you down to play for their club.
Well, a bit of both. So on the pitch, 100%, and then other guys in your team as well. And I think when you forget that everyone in that same team is still wanting to go into the next team and the next team, and a lot of you are after the same, individual, or I guess group kind of reward individually. A big thing in professional, like staying professional is just obviously winning as a group and making sure you played really good and the other guy didn't as well. Yeah. It's a big thing how to carry those two scales the whole way through.
That's so tough.
The 22 you see on the weekend, there's another 30 sitting in the stands going, I wish it was me. I wish he did a knee in last week. I would have, because I would have been next on. I was the 23rd man. So, and you got to keep that kind of in check a lot, because culturally it's really important.
Mentally, that's so tough, though, particularly trying to do that at 16.
From a listener's perspective, if you can put it in context, we're seeing 15 and 16-year-olds typically playing local footy on a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
What we're not seeing is that they're trying to find their way into the clique
Yep.
of a structured football team that is playing on television,
Right. Yep.
paid very well
Yeah.
in lots of cases these days for the job that they do. And waiting alongside them is little Jay at 15, 16, just waiting for a run.
That's it.
It must have been huge.
It was, it was huge. And, going back to that reflection piece, it's pretty incredible, but it was also pretty daunting and, fairly scary. So
Yeah.
I was lucky, but also, it was a different kind of pathway to anybody. I can't relate to some people, or they can't relate to that story, or they can't, during that time, relate to me at school. So I really had no really relate to it all.
Man.
Maybe one or two others that were kind of in it, but they weren't where Sydney was. So they might be going to Melbourne twice every 6 months, but I was there every week.
And that was part of your scholarship, right? Like that was part of the requirements for that?
Right, I need to be there and develop and be at the club as much as possible while still doing school.
Yeah, wow.
So yeah, pretty full on. And then you move into your senior years, and that second team are playing in Canberra, so I'd have to go to Sydney, get on a bus to Canberra, another 3 or 4 hours, stay the night, play senior footy in Canberra, and then bus back, get a train back to home, back to school. Like, you get home at 1 a.m. at Gosford Station in my tracksuit.
How did your schooling go during this time? That's a lot to manage.
I did I did a lot on the road, and it was a lot to manage. I was allowed to drop 1 or 2 things that they probably said you probably can get away with. So that was cool. I had some other gaps there, but I still had to get the HSC at the time, what they call it there, and be amongst all that year 11, year 12 kind of stuff as well. As much as you're away from it, you had to still complete it, but I was only there for half of it. So still a lot of pressure there as well. Wanting to be.
I've got this sense, Jay, and these are my words, not yours, but that in every chapter there was a sense of isolation, but you were to be grateful.
Spot on. That is beautifully there. And it was quite lonely, but then it was I was very lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, as well.
That's so hard. So when you were then in the position that things weren't continuing for you at the Swans, did you feel relief or disappointment, or a bit of column A and a bit of column B combined?
I think it was a bit of both. It was 4 or 5 years heavily in amongst it by the end of it. And I think there was a fair bit of relief, because I could kind of go back to some normality in my life, and just that pressure on me was I could breathe a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I could take those learnings to the next club that wanted me to get on board. But that experience was that was incredible, because I could do what I love doing, but not have the pressure. The performance improved, the culture improved where we were. Wasn't money and all that stuff involved with it. So before that, we end up going and getting signed to get redrafted at Redland Football Bay in Queensland. So I left the state again and moved up there with James Webster, who just finished up at Essendon. And yeah, we're living together, but still kind of had to do a couple of jobs and work as well. And again, flat out pre-season, still a fair bit of pressure, 1920, moving away from your home now. So it was still that gauge of we were in it, but I had learned a lot through those teenage years and played some good footy, and that was in the Northeastern Football League. So that we were playing Sydney Swans reserves. So we're back in that clip, flying away, but a little bit less pressure, still a bit of money involved. So still had to get that balance right. But yeah, kind of the big push to go, where are we going with our life here?
And now time for a short break. Don't forget to like, follow and subscribe to join the Almost Pro community and stay up to date with the latest episodes and news. To find out more or to apply to be a guest, visit almostpropodcast.com today.
And then at the end of that year, we had an okay year. They hadn't won. We didn't win much games. That was 2012. Just the last couple of days, they won their first since then, Redlands.
Right.
which was amazing to watch. So I watched,
Wow.
and yeah, end up moving back home to Terrigal, and they won last week. My old footy club Terrigals
Yeah.
went back there, and that's kind of when I think it all came to a head, and I could become a much more normalised and go, okay, I need to go and do some study here. I'm just going to be left in no man's land for this period. And
Mm.
we joined our local footy club. We didn't have much success at that stage. They were kind of coming up, and yeah, we were in the next, 7-odd grand finals, and I helped co-captain that club. Yeah, well, kind of, I guess you go back with the big fish again in that town, and you started seeing more development go through New South Wales, and
Yeah.
there was not much money involved at all. So it was just, you're just there for the love of it and for the person next to you. And it just, the
Yep.
whole headspace had changed. And I think that's when I
Yeah.
fell in love back in with it again.
Yeah, I love that, Jay. Do
Mm.
you think do you think if you'd been given a few more years to develop under if we look at the current pathways in Australian rules football, if you were given a few more years and you were playing people your age, do you think your story would have looked different?
I think a little bit. It could have been, because I would have been able to be a lot more involved in that group and have a bit more of a voice with in those teams. And at the time of when I was in playing Swans reserves, that's when the Giants had their first under-18s team. So all those good players would go play under-18s footy, and I'm still
Yeah.
in during that time. Um,
Yeah.
but they were jealous of me. But I was like, oh, I wish I could go have a kick with you guys and get a bit more of it at this stage.
Ain't that a summary of life with where the grass is greener?
It
You
is
know?
so good.
I wanted what they had, they wanted what I
That's right.
had.
Yeah. So a good question. Who knows? To be honest,
Yeah. Yeah, and who knows? That's exactly right. But what you were able to do was to continue playing for a while, right?
that's right. Played for I was rocking up locally, studying my chosen field in lower limb sports science podiatry, and we just had a great time, and we had some
Yeah.
good success, and it cultivated some amazing relationships, and the club just had this amazing successful period where they were in like 10 straight grannies, and it was just an amazing time. So looking back, I am just so happy with how the journey went, and
Yeah.
I was, yeah, looking back now, I'm so glad. And now it's 10-year reunions. I get to pop back and catch up with everyone back in Central Coast from Sunny
Yeah.
Coast. So it's been a different journey, but one that I'm super proud of, and I can lean on heavily now through my adult years to my business life.
Yeah.
Um, and we just had a ball, and there was still some, representative footy through that time with those competitions. So you still got a bit of a taste for it, and yeah, great time, great conversations now amongst those guys as well, who went through not the same journey, but went through different journeys, and we can kind of relate to each other somewhat. And
Yep. And it
yeah,
helps.
so it does
And it
help.
helps.
It does.
Yeah, because I think oftentimes we can share a story and people can't quite appreciate the depth that you were in, the heights that you were climbing, the places that you needed to go, the age that you were, the
Yeah,
experience that you were trying to absorb, and the obstacles that you were overcoming to do it. And I think when you've got someone who goes, "Yeah, right. I get that."
yeah,
I think it changes the way you can look at it yourself.
it does. And I think in parts maybe I thought it was normal. My journey, I was more people should have said that, yeah, this is not normal. Like,
Yeah.
not normal stuff, and like you're running around at the SCG on a Thursday night after school. It's not normal. And I just, yeah, I took it as, why isn't anyone doing this? Everyone doing it, so fully I alienated everyone because no one really understood what was going on.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Well, really, it was you that was alienated, right?
That's probably correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Would
So
you would you let your son take the same journey now, or would you guide him differently?
I think the pressure, it's a good question. I wouldn't have as much put that pressure on him. I'd
Yeah.
support him. I think it's a better word than having to put pressure on him with that environment. And I reckon
Yeah.
there's a lot different pathways now where that they can play their natural game and still be really present, but not have as much pressure on them as that time in my life or as at that
Yeah.
group. So if he wants to go that direction, I'll be there supporting him. And this
Yeah.
now I can support my little girl because there's girl
Yeah.
pathways. And
Yeah, that
Did you ever have the option or contemplate not accepting the scholarship back in the day, knowing you were so young and that this was going to be a jump and there was the other team for the under 18s? Did that
look,
ever come into your mind?
It's a good question. I'm not sure. No, it wouldn't. No, not at all. Because you think that was the goal.
Yeah.
But, it's so looking back, there were probably some other options, but
Mm.
you never
Okay.
know. And this is why reflection is really, really important. And whatever journey you get put on, it's your journey, and you just got to accept it and take as much positively and negatively what to help you go forward with your experience. So hindsight's a beautiful thing every day, but you got to own your decisions and move forward with them.
Sounds like some good lessons there to carry on into past and post footy as well.
Yeah, it is. And I think past footy, it's difficult sometimes with that leadership style all the time, because now I've got a big team and no one's gone through those groups of sporting teams and high pressure. So I can't go work. Let's just go work harder. Let's go.
Hustle, grind, hustle.
Yeah.
Let's sweat harder. It's a completely different thing. Yeah, you can use that a little bit. So that leadership style, I've had to learn a lot of those different styles as well in the professional workplace. But my experience there is that resilience, which I think the team loves, and we can get through anything. And there's a big problem, like I'm going, it's not that big. We're going to be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now helping coach and mentor some of my junior pods and even my managers and admin staff, it's been, I think, more of a delight now having these lessons than it was back then. I'm enjoying myself way more than I was during that period.
Did you ever take an imposter mindset into business?
I did completely.
Yeah.
And I now not call it that. I call it growth syndrome, because
Yeah.
that means wherever you are, you're in the right place, because
Yeah.
you're about to learn something and there's nowhere else you need to be. And
Yeah.
that's where that growth happens. I'm stepping outside of my comfort zone. And probably the first 2 or 3 years, I had a massive imposter syndrome, and it was the same gut stomach thing. This person's coming to see me for this particular service. They're giving me money, and now I've got this other staff member and they're coming to work for me. And it's just, you're going through all these things. And I think, again, that's experience. But when it comes to me now, it's like I'm about to learn something. This is really exciting. It's the same feeling.
Yeah.
Excited now when I get that feeling. It's like I'm about to
Yeah.
grow here. And you can't stay in that, oh no, holy shit zone for too long. You got to pull it back. But it's really important to step out there.
Yep.
Oh, how good. I've learned something today. I'm going to take that back to the family or tell my best mate what's going on. And it was pretty intense. I kept my cool, and I can't wait for the next time I can do it.
Can you tell our listeners what you do now?
Yeah, so I'm a podiatrist, which is a lower limb kind of foot doctor in Australia, and we do a lot of lower limb physio stuff, regeneration therapy for tendons and runners, and we do nail surgeries and some of that disgusting, amazing, good stuff that you get with your feet. Ulcer care, and we do manufacturing of orthotics and insoles, and we've got an orthotic manufacturing on board now that we own and develop there as well. So a really exciting time, not just for me, but for the Sunshine Coast and what we're bringing as well. And now I feel like, challenging and growing in business like you did in your sporting career is putting us in good stead, I think. Yeah.
Does the hammer still show up?
Not very regularly.
Not very regularly.
On Monday nights, we play a touch nines AFL. So it brings a little bit out. We had the grand final, and you're playing with like a sponge footy. It's 100-metre oval, so you have to run too far. And it's touch footy, but it still came out a little bit there, and it's just enough. 40 minutes, you get a sweat on. You got your mate. Yeah.
What kind of football watcher are you? Are you annoying? Do you pull the game apart, or do you just sit quietly?
No, I sit quietly. I put it on off and on when I'm allowed at home. And grand finals this weekend, so I always get with my dad and my brother. And that's always a mainstay with us. So it's good. We can just talk about the old days.
I love it, Jay. I also feel the need to qualify. I know it's been said more than once, but to qualify for our international listeners, that a granny is a grand final. It is in fact not anything to do with grandparents, but it is a grand final.
Just about to say that. Also meant to add in that footy is the Australian slang term for Aussie rules, AFL, Australian football. It's all the same.
That's it. And we had 195,000 people attend the weekend's 2 games. Wow. And then we'll have another 100 grand at the grand final this week in Melbourne. Put it on, and you'll really, really enjoy it. A really good game. Yeah.
Such a good game. Such a good game. Jay, before I throw you to the wolves, i.e. Laura, to play a game of this or that.
So rude.
I have one last question for you. What's been your proudest moment off the pitch since you've hung up your boots?
Look, obviously your kids are going to be the
Yeah.
first, but
Yeah.
I think moving away from that, it's probably now cultivating this business, this passion I have for it. It's my favorite hobby,
I
and
love
I
it.
think that energy, or you could almost call it ADHD, that energy, I can put it into something else.
Yep.
And I love coming to work and now getting an amazing team around me and having these challenges and starting a business from my car, doing home visit, old people's feet, grandma, grandpa. So now having a 2-clinic, 14 people team. I think that's my proudest moment to this stage.
So
It,
it should be.
it's something that will, I'm in control of, and I
Mm.
don't have to pull out because I'm getting too old and my body's let me down. And it's something I
Yep.
have to continue to get better, exactly like kicking the footy. So, and then hopefully growing up these amazing little human beings and creating a beautiful life with my partner as well. So that's my proudest moment I've seen.
I love your awareness of those transferables. It's so
Mm.
good, Jay.
It is, and
So good. And congratulations on the business.
Yeah.
It is a phenomenal step towards staying in sport, but in a way that you know you're helping people.
that's
Well
it.
done.
Yeah.
You know, I sponsor the clubs around me that I played at, and you just got good friends and a community immediately around you, especially moving uh, on your own for a different challenge at that time. And
Mm.
now I can give
Mm.
back to that footy club years later and look after those players and still have that finger amongst all that community there.
There is no other network, ecosystem, community
That's right. Yeah.
like sport.
You got-
There,
Yeah. And my future probably, I hope we do a little bit of coaching. You know, I did a bit of coaching and helped all the junior Swans academies through that time as well.
Mhm.
When they all kind of cultivated just after I left. So there's a lot of amazing pathways, and I think AFL as a whole it is the mainstay now around Australia. And
Yeah.
those Sydney Swans games, they're full now. It's hard to get tickets
Yep.
all
Yeah.
these years later. And
Yep.
And international interest is picking up in it as well, which is great to see. Yeah.
that's right. And
Mm.
and my school now has a program, an AFL program. You know,
So good.
Mm.
it's amazing to see. It's so good, and the young ladies have an amazing program, and they're getting paid professionally, and it's just
Yeah.
so. My daughter has that opportunity now. She never used to,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and she'll probably be a bit better kick than me. You know, I won't tell her that, but she got that opportunity. To
Let's hope so. Let's hope she is anyway.
that's
I'm
it.
sure she'll have someone to kick a footy with when she's ready.
I think so.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well,
Love it, Jay.
Jay, just like quick decisions on the pitch, it's now time for a quick game of this or that. So this is a quick fire, about a 10-question round, and just pick whichever answer comes to your mind first,
Yep.
and we'll roll with that. All right. A business suit or footy boots?
We business suit now. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I don't hate to say that actually. That's
It's tough.
Probably
Some of
easy.
these are really tough. I'm not going to lie. We'll take a break from it and go oceans or mountains,
Mountains,
a home crowd or away win.
home crowd, every day of the week. Yeah.
Nice. Beep test or cross country run.
Oh, I just forgot that story. I think it was like the state champs 14s, and we had to get our testing done. And you do the jump, you do the agility, and now you see this at the draft, and they take this camp all around Australia. And that one of the big things is the beep test. And I remember us getting up there, the nerves, the heart's pounding, you got your fitness test, and it got to like maybe 12, and more than 80% are pulled out, and I'm feeling really, really good. And for people that know the beep test, it's 20 meters. It goes beep, get to the next one, beep, and you go back and forth. And the anxiety around this test every year, you're about to spew because you had to go up against these people. You're taking your gels and you're trying to be the best kid. And I got it to 13, and I'm like, I feel really good. Then it's just me and one other bloke left. I'm like, I'm going to get a record here. I've never been this far. I'm feeling bloody excellent. So he's dropped out, and I'm just on my own. I'm going to bloody win it. I'm feeling quite good. Win another few. Got a bit too quick. Won the beat test in the state, and then I go, Dad, you wouldn't believe it. I've just taken the whole thing, and he goes, I had the home beat test at 23 meters, and I was getting like 12 at home. I got to like almost 15. I've been making a run for extra metres per beat. And I go, you bastard. That's
So Dad's
That's
rigged
it,
the
you are.
test. So it's normally 20 and he's giving you 23.
23. And I was doing that regularly at home and I hated every bit of it. And, I just was flying at the event.
That is brilliant. I love it.
Unbelievable. So,
But to answer the question,
not the beat.
now,
Not the
beep
beat.
test or cross country.
No, probably beat. I think it's my thing. Yeah.
You still love it.
I think you'd be one of the only people to answer beep test as being the preferred.
Oh, okay. Oh,
We
Oh, I
attribute that
don't.
to Dad. Thank you, Dad.
yeah. Good, yeah. Shout out.
All right. Let's go Central Coast or Sunshine Coast.
Oh, Sunshine Coast.
Day outdoors or Netflix binge.
Oh, definitely day out.
Sydney Swans scholarship or hometown premiership.
It's a good question. But, I think this premiership thing will last a lifetime. And the people I've met there will last forever. And they visited me just all the time, these guys, this group. And you forget that when you go into this, you're 21, 22, and you're still with 34-year-olds who've got kids and married. And there's still relationships that hold, and they're 50 now, these guys.
Yeah.
And there's no other play environment that you have someone that's just coming out of their teenage years, hanging out with a mid-30-year-old, but become really close mates. Where else do you get that in your normal social? So I think definitely those hometown premierships, because those relationships go deep. They go deep.
Yeah. In that case, watching AFL on TV or being at the ground live.
I love being at the game still.
Yeah.
Real hectic. Yeah, I love being and going.
In amongst it.
I would have tackled that guy.
All right.
In
Well,
my day.
last one, beach run or gym session.
Oh, I think because, I'll probably say gym session now because I've done too much running in my time and I've almost got a love-hate with it. So probably in the gym, just hanging out, just chilling, not overexerting.
I love it.
That's fair. Well, thanks for playing this or that, Jade.
So Jay Lewis, from breaking into AFL pathways in a rugby league heartland to training with the Swans during a history-making era and now leading elite foot care business on Sunshine Coast in Queensland. Jay, your journey shows how the lessons of sport carry far beyond the field. We'll be following to see what's next for Elite Foot Care. And for everyone listening, you can check them out at elitefootcare.com.au or follow Jay on socials to keep up with his work. Jay, thank you so much for sharing your time with us today.
It's just thanks, Laura. Great chat. Really appreciate you getting me on and telling a little bit of that story. I hope someone got a little bit out of it. So thank you for having me, guys. Really appreciate it.
Amazing, Jay. Thank you. And to our Almost Pro community, if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next story. And if you have a story to share or know someone who does, head over to almostpropodcast.com or connect with us on our social media pages at Almost Pro Podcast. We'd love to hear from you.